Radio 1510 and 105.3 FM.
The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Money Radio staff, management, or advertisers, and do not represent an offer to buy or sell any securities. Some interviews heard on this program may be sponsored by the participants. It's time for Health Futures with Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth. This is Arizona's only show dedicated to providing you with expert advice on how to live a longer, healthier, and happier life. To learn more, call 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Bob Roth.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Health Futures, taking stock in you. And it must be Friday. And it is. It is Friday, June the 9th. And we are coming at you live from the Scottsdale Air Park. And if you're listening to us, you're either listening to us on 1510 AM, 105.3 FM, or you're catching us on the World Wide Web at moneyradio1510.com. And if you're just tuning in, what is Health Futures? Health Futures is a show about how our older adult population can live a healthier, happier life. And I'm able to bring this show about now for 4.5 years by bringing extraordinary guests to the show to really talk about what is out there, what is going on, innovations, technologies, medical breakthroughs, you name it, some of the challenges that families are dealing with. And we have very not only thoughtful discussions, but we also can try to at least direct the conversation to helping people that are listening to the show to find solutions that they may be dealing with. In our listening audience, we're going to talk today like we have talked many other times. We've done about 160 shows about issues that today about what families are dealing with, specifically about family caregivers. If you're tuning in the very first time, my family owns a home care company here in town called Cypress HomeCare Solutions. And what we do is we enable so many of our older adult population to be able to age successfully in place. You know, when they survey older adults, 92% want to age in place. It's not that everyone can, but if they can, it would be a great place to be. In addition, we all are very cognizant about healthcare and healthcare costs. The least scenario for people to live is in their own home. And when family members can't be there, the caregivers that HomeCare or Cypress HomeCare Solutions employs are kind of surrogate sons and daughters to assist. And that is the optimum word. Our caregivers assist those that are trying to be as independent as possible to live at home. So that's what we do. I'll make a quick appeal. What makes our companies caregivers. And if you're listening in and you are either one or you have a family member, a friend, neighbor, somebody that is a caring spirit that wants to make a difference in somebody's life, we're looking for you. So please reach out to Cypress Home Care. You can call us at 602-264-8009, or you can look us up on the web and you can fill out an application right online. We're hiring all the time, looking for people that have caring hearts, people that want to make a difference in somebody's life. So I want to kick off the show, and as I said at the top, our show is really, it comes about by bringing extraordinary guests, and this gentleman is a little modest. He may not think he's extraordinary, but I do. I think he is. He's somebody I've known for a few years, probably I'm going to say 10 plus years. He's been in the caring space, if you would. He's an educator. His name is Dr. David Coon. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
It's good to have you here. And David is an educator over at ASU, the College of Nursing and Health Innovations. And we talked about innovations, and you and I talk about it all the time. You know, we have an aging world. We have an aging community, and it is aging rather rapidly.
Absolutely. Yes. If you haven't been touched by aging, you're I'm not sure you're paying attention. Maybe that's the best way to say it. So if aging isn't your issue, it will be. Well, think about that.
What's interesting, and I've shared this stat on the show here before, and I don't know, David, if you are familiar with Dr. Ken Dykewell.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
He wrote a great book called The Age Wave back in 1986, kind of predicting what we're dealing with here. And he wrote a position paper last June, and I'd be happy to share it with you. But the position paper was really talking about the presidential election, and he was talking about how both parties, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, needed to take note of our aging demographic. And he teed it off by saying the following fact, and it is daunting when I share this with you. He says that 2/3 of all people that have ever lived to the age of 65 or older on this planet, and I'm talking about Mother Earth, are alive today. And that in itself is daunting. I mean, we are aging so rapidly, and we are seeing things that we've never seen before. And you have a special gift and a direction, if you would. And I'm at a loss for words here, but relative to caregiving, and I'm talking about family caregiving. I mean, you're focusing in that, and we are as well. The family caregivers are the unsung heroes. They're the ones that are making that ultimate sacrifice. They're the ones that are giving up of themselves to help their loved ones. And that could be a spouse, that could be an adult child, that could be a niece, nephew, granddaughter, grandson, so many that are making that ultimate sacrifice to help their loved ones. And this is going to continue to grow.
Absolutely.
It's growing exponentially. Last month I was in Washington, D.C., and I was lobbying our legislators, and we were lobbying for this new bill that just dropped. And the sponsors of the bill are Senator Joni Ernst from Iowa, Senator Collins from Colorado, and there was one other senator, and it's called the Credit for Caring Act. And the Credit for Caring Act is an ability for family caregivers to get up to $3,000 of tax credit to provision services like Cypress's, to purchase medical assistive devices, or to get reimbursed on pharmacy, which you probably see every single day, where we have older adults that are making the decision, should I fill my prescription or should I go to the grocery store?
That's right. Should I have food to eat? Should I pay my rent? Should I have a place to sleep? Or take my medications?
So I know that you dig into the impact of caregiving for family and friends with dementia and opportunities for intervention to help them along the way. You are the creator of this program called Care Pro. I know we're probably up really close to the first segment. We got 1 minute, but I want to really concentrate in the second segment to really hear from you and some of the things that you're seeing, because you're out there. You're not only an educator, but you're helping a lot of these families navigate and help them really come up with solutions, because they're out there pulling their hair out. They don't know what to do.
Well, and unfortunately, a lot of them still aren't finding their way to organizations, whether they offer Care Pro or whether they're offering something else that can assist individuals. They're not making it there. And you know that, Bob. They don't necessarily make it, whether it's, to an organization like yours, or whether it's a not-for-profit that is the Area Agency on Aging or the Alzheimer's Association. We still have got to increase information and awareness and basic education in our state of how to reach out and learn more about what you do and what these organizations do.
Exactly. I've had AARP here on our show, and AARP is it's an organization that's got a lot of data. And one of the data facts that they share with us is that couples caring for one another that are 65 and older, 63% of the time, the caregiver predeceases the care recipient. And that should not happen. We can't let that happen. But this generation that is really taking that oath in sickness and health is making that ultimate sacrifice. They don't want you or me to come help. I got it. I can handle it. It's not your problem. I've signed up for this. I love my wife. I need to do that. We're up against a break here, David. We got one segment down. It flies.
Okay.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back for segment number 2.
Arizona investment property experts are now your Mexico investment property experts. Join investment property experts for an informative Investing in Mexico real estate workshop. Learn about investing in Puerto Peñasco, Mexico, and how you can earn a net 15% annual return. IPX's crown jewel in Mexico is the Esmeralda Resort, located on Sandy Beach in Puerto Peñasco, Mexico. Puerto Peñasco is the popular beach getaway known as Rocky Point. Only 3.5 hours away from Phoenix, Arizona, this is the perfect investment and vacation opportunity for you. As an investor, you will not only earn 15%, but you will have access to numerous investment projects. Currently, we are offering Esmeralda investors discounted lots, houses, and condos that can be purchased and flipped. And best of all, everything is 100% turnkey. With the home port commencing construction this year and its planned completion in 2019, this project will be a big boost to the economy and investment real estate in Rocky Point. Learn more by attending an informative workshop. Call 602-254-6244 or visit ArizonaInvestmentPropertyExperts.com. Blackhawk Capital Partners understand that in today's global economy, transparency and liquidity are essential and that being proactive is better than being reactive. They believe that all of their clients deserve unbiased and sophisticated advice that can and will evolve with their investment landscape. By managing strategies that cover a full range of investment objectives, it makes it easier to specifically address individual clients' needs. However, what really sets Blackhawk apart is their specialized team of professionals, strong commitment to endless education in the complicated areas of tax planning and asset management. Blackhawk Capital Partners services a wide array of specialists, affluent investors, business owners, athletes, and physicians. If you think you could benefit from a free financial audit and you want to learn more about this dedicated team of investment professionals, call today at 480-320-4736. That's 480-320-4736. And be sure to visit blackhawk-capital.com for more information.
Now through July 5th, it's GNC's summer savings event. Get hot value starting at $9.99 on your favorite essentials. Vitamins, fish oil, probiotics, and more. Change begins at GNC.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Thank you, James. Always playing the good tunes here. You're listening to Health Futures. I'm Bob Roth, your host, and if you're just tuning in, we're on our second segment. I've got Dr. David Coon here from ASU University. He's with the College of Nursing and Health Innovations. And if you missed the first segment, I urge you to go up to our website at cypresshomecare.com, click on the media button, drop down to the radio show button, and you can catch this show, and you can catch about 150 to 160 others. So, David, when we stepped off the first segment, I was talking about how, mainly the silent generation, they took this oath of sickness and health, and they really don't look for assistance. And it's hard. It's hard for people like you and I to say, you need to do this. I mean, they've got to want to do it. But as I often say, as people like yourself and mine or family members that are listening in and they know people that are doing the primary care, you don't ask to help, you just do. Because if you ask, they're going to tell you no. You just got to say, you know what, I'm coming over and making dinner tonight.
That's right. I mean, I think that people are very well-intentioned. They feel committed. They feel like they are the individuals that can do this best for their loved one because they're the ones that knows the ins and outs of it. But we are very, very open with them about the reality. If they don't find ways to take care of themselves, how many people are going down when they go down?
Right.
It's going to be 2. It's not just going to be 1. So to find ways to go ahead and map out and accept assistance. Somebody's not going to do it as well, perhaps the first time or even ever as you do it. But let go of perfection. Let somebody come over and give you a break. Let somebody learn from you to do the best that they can do. And many times it's keeping your loved ones safe and comfortable and engaged as best to the ability that they can be. And beyond that, if you go out and can rejuvenate yourself, or if you need to go to work, this is still a reality. Sometimes people forget that caregivers come in all different shapes and sizes and different phases of their lives, and what's needed in that family or that unit that is providing the assistance. And so how do we help maintain the quality of life for both? One of the things that I say is, from the other side, is that sometimes family caregivers will look at me and say, but what am I going to have them do, David? What am I going to have them do? Really, seriously, what am I going to have them do? And I say, and I haven't come up with a better term than this, Bob, but we encourage in our EPIC program and associated with our CarePro programs and some of these others to begin to think of a honey-do list. Now, I know that's not the best thing. If I could come up with a better term, I would. But we need brainstorm. Can somebody that you love their lasagna make a double batch of lasagna so you don't have to cook for a couple of days? It's as simple as that. Can somebody, if you live in a HOA-infested neighborhood that wants your lawn to look a certain way, and your spouse used to be the person that mowed the lawn, can somebody from your church or your club that you've always been a part of that has volunteered to do something for you mow your lawn? I mean, think about the things that may not be necessarily direct assistance for caregiving assistance to do, but provide these other kinds of things so that you have the energy to do what you need to do. So think outside the box, not only about direct care provision. And then sometimes, man, I can think of this gentleman that we worked with for early on in my career who loved to watch Matlock, and his best friend would come over to give this man's spouse a break and sit and watch reruns of Matlock ad nauseum. And then they moved to the Rockford Files, and they moved to whatever. And that gave her a break. He trusted this man. He knew this man. And that's all it took. That's all it took to get her to be able to have a break.
What I hear you saying is you need to rely on your village.
That's right.
We're all part of a village. And you know what? If you don't think you have one, take a step back and think about the people that you are part of. And then the other part is, and I think it's an innate nature of human beings, people want to help. You've got to be willing to accept it. But I will tell you, I've learned in my old age, I have learned that it feels so much better to give than it does to take. And I love helping people. I mean, when young students ask me for help, or people that are in the aging world say, look, I'm in the transitionary stage, can I talk to you? I love coaching people and helping people. And I think by nature, humans like to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, sometimes I'll have family caregivers, and I'm going to do it a little bit from the family caregiver side, and I appreciate you're doing it from the helper side. This is perfect. From the family caregivers, sometimes we say, yeah, but my daughter or my son, they really missed the mark. They're well-intentioned, and that's what I have to remind caregivers from time to time. There's a difference, we say, in communication between delivery and intent. Sometimes the delivery kind of sucks, but the intent may be there. And then think of things that they can do for you. Often you need information, and once you learn how to sort through quality information, send them on the internet. Send them to go find things. Send them on grocery runs. Send them to do things that can be done. And recognize we all have families and a family history. Recognize who you're emotionally close to and who you are distance-wise close to, and begin to think, what can you ask those people to do based on that combination? Maybe the people you aren't closest to, you want to ask to do certain things, but what else could they do for you? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you, how do you get these family members, these family caregivers, if you would, to take that first step? Because that's the hardest thing. I mean, we can give them all these ideas.
I think what we do, and it depends on where the first step is. Sharing information, just like we're doing right now on this show, and hopefully there's somebody out there or multiple people out there listening that either know someone that is a friend of theirs that's in this situation. How do we point them towards organizations, companies like yours that can help them to take that first step and maybe go with them, maybe share the information with them. Then there are, and you knew this from the training of the staff that you do and how you do that with your staff, to encourage and invite people to engage in this dialogue and work out a plan with you. The kinds of training programs that we do, we bring people together. And one of the things that I think that we do that works especially well is having groups of people come together. So both our Care Pro program and our EPIC program that are offered by the Alzheimer's Associations in Arizona and Nevada, we bring people together. And while we have the professionals that we've trained to help lead these groups and coach them, there's almost nothing ever better than having another caregiver sitting next to you to tell you, I tried this and this is how it works, and then let's work together to figure out how it might work in your situation.
And I want you, if you can, maybe at the end of this segment, maybe in the third segment, talk a little bit more about Care Pro and EPIC and music and memory, some of the things that you're involved in that you're doing. But that scenario that you just described, I think so many caregivers, and I'm talking about those family caregivers, sit in these silos and say, you know what, nobody can ever understand what I'm going through. And promoting them to be involved in these groups through the Alzheimer's Association or any other group there may be out there is enlightening, and it's empowering to know that I'm not alone.
Absolutely. And if you're feeling trapped in your house or your apartment and you feel like you can't because of your own health concerns or because of transportation or cost, reach out and see, are there things that are happening online that the area agencies on aging in your state is aware of, or organizations or your church or synagogue, whatever it is that might know. Can there be something that's online? Can there be something on the web? Can there be something that's done over the telephone? Because even that and being able to engage is so helpful to know that you're not the only person facing this. And there's a difference between knowing that, having Bob and David tell you that, right, and talking to someone that has walked or is currently walking what you're walking.
No, absolutely. I mean, we talk about places and we talk about the village and we talked about Area Agency on Aging. We talked about the Alzheimer's Association, but the list goes much deeper.
Absolutely.
We have some great social service organizations.
Absolutely.
Like Duet, Partners in Care.
Yep.
I mean, they're right here. I serve on their board. It's amazing what they do. They have over 2,000 volunteers.
Absolutely.
And then you've got Benavia on the west side.
Right.
You got Foothills Caring Corps up in the north area. Mm-hmm. And then you've got, other organizations like, Foundation for Senior Living. I mean, the list goes on and on. So we have such an abundance of resources right here at your fingertips.
We do. And one of the things that I want to encourage anybody that's listening is, just like when you shop for a healthcare provider, it can be a little bit like that, or a little bit like dating. Not that you're dating your healthcare provider, although, Anyway, if you go with an open mind and try it a couple of times. If that group doesn't fit for you, go back and listen to what Bob has listed, and that's not everything. And so find something that works for you and matches with you and your family situation.
Well, I'll tell you what, we do this at Cypress HomeCare Solutions. We consider ourselves a solutions-oriented company. Mm-hmm. James is telling me we're up against a break. It's halftime at Health Futures. Come on back. We'll be right back.
As we reach the bottom of the hour, we pause for a look at the world's news. Then we're back with Money Talk. We're Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM.
President Trump says he's not ready to provide details over whether there are recordings of his meeting with ousted FBI Director James Comey.
Well, I'll tell you about that maybe sometime in the very near future. But in the meantime, no collusion, no obstruction. He's a leaker, but we want to get back to running our great country.
President Trump, during a joint news conference with the leader of Romania, also says he would testify under oath that he did not ask for a pledge of loyalty from Comey. The U.S. is calling on Arab nations to end their blockade of Qatar. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson.
We call for calm and thoughtful dialogue with clear expectations and accountability among the parties. in order to strengthen relationships. We ask that there be no further escalation by the parties in the region.
On Wall Street, the Dow up 52 points, the S&P 500 down 4, the Nasdaq down 109. I'm Ann Cates.
Kyle is a dog trainer.
Okay, sit. Good boy.
In his personal time, Kyle's a personal trainer.
1, 2, good.
Kyle knows how to get results, but when it comes to mortgages, he's less confident.
Guilty as charged.
Fortunately, there's Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. It's simple, so he can understand the details and know he's getting the right mortgage. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently. Go to rocketmortgage.com today.
Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
This is Charles Osgood. Small business never stops moving, so Dell's U.S.-based small business technology advisors are trained to keep up. Just call 877-BUY-DELL to get connected with an advisor who will get to know your business and tailor a solution with Dell PCs powered by Intel Core processors that is right for you, so you can focus on your business and leave the tech questions to Dell. Call 877-BUY-DELL to get in touch with a tech advisor today.
9. Listening to the great news and advice from Money Radio is easier than ever with many choices. Log on to moneyradio1510.com to find all the options.
Set it and forget it. Out of sight, out of mind. Hands off. For many investors, that's how they perceive their 401k plans. Even when they leave their jobs, they leave their 401k investments untouched. Is there more you can do for your retirement with some hands-on guidance supported by a strategy? Learn the options and potentially the advantages. Schedule a rollover review with Lucia Capital Group. Learn how easy it is to take control of your retirement by rolling a 401k into a buckets portfolio. The retirement planning advisors at Lucia Capital Group work directly with each client to develop a strategy geared to their goals. Learn how you may be able to diversify your retirement plan. Take a closer look at the fees you may be paying with an old 401k that's out of sight, out of mind. Call Lucia Capital Group. 800-644-1150. 800-644-1150. Or visit luciacap.com. That's luciacap.com. Securities offered through Lucia Securities LLC, member FINRA SIPC, a subsidiary of Lucia Capital Group and affiliate of Lucia Wealth Services.
Hi, this is Ken Morgan.
This is Mark Asher.
Hey, Mark, I was looking at this script for this promo we're about to record, and it's something about you being Man of the Year, maybe, and I was going to make fun of you, but this is a good thing you're doing here.
Well, Ken, I appreciate you not making fun of me. I am a candidate for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society Man of the Year. From now until June 10th, I'll be raising as much money as I possibly can, and you can help donate. Go to moneyradio1510.com, click on the icon, and donate today.
Hi, this is Ken from Online Trading Academy Phoenix. For a fresh take on the news and your money, check out The Right Side of the Trade, noon Thursdays and Saturdays on Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM. To understand how the markets really work, come to a free Online Trading Academy half-day class. When you come out, you'll also get a tablet with access to additional online courses at no charge. For free tickets, call 8448-INCOME. That's 844-846-2663 now.
This Saturday, get the D-Backs pool towel giveaway before the 7:10 p.m. game versus the Brewers. Visit dbacks.com for more details.
Frank Miller with Your Money Now. Well, as trading is getting ready to wrap up on Wall Street, the stocks are seeing a volatile end to the day. After posting some record intraday highs early in the session, stocks have been bouncing back and forth across the unchanged line, particularly the Dow, which has been changing from red to green in recent trading. The S&P solidly green in the morning, negative in the afternoon, down around 0.5%, while the Nasdaq down over 2%, posting its biggest decline since 2016. The tech sector, the big story on Wall Street this afternoon, though, is Apple is leading the Nasdaq lower, down over 4% at last check. Also seeing some weakness today from Facebook and Google parent company Alphabet. A lot for traders to digest today, still taking in the results of the surprise UK election, with the ruling Conservative Party fell 7 seats short of securing a majority. The British pound falling to a nearly 2-month low against the U.S. dollar. In economic news today, the Commerce Department said that there was a bigger than expected drop in U.S. wholesale inventories in the month of April. And that's your money now.
There are two things every parent wants when their child goes to college. For their child to do well and a way to afford it. Now, with Discover Student Loans, parents can have the best of both worlds. Not only do our loans cover up to 100% of school-certified costs with zero fees, but we'll give them a cash reward for each new student loan if they earn at least a 3.0 GPA or equivalent. That means every A in history or B in math could help them earn a cash reward for good grades. Just one of the many ways we treat you like you'd treat you. Apply now in 15 minutes or less at discoverstudentloans.com. Limitations apply.
Stocks are soaring, and construction spending across America has been on the rise. If you've been waiting to build, the time is now. Whether you want to expand your business or you want to build a new garage, call General Steel today. Our metal buildings are custom designed for your needs. For example, a 40 by 60 is a great space for an auto shop or 3-car garage. And if you call General Steel today, it's on sale now for under $25,000. Call 866-95-STEEL. 866-95-STEEL. That's 866-957-8335.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. Got a little Coldplay bringing us in. It's Happy Friday. We're coming at you live from the Scottsdale Air Park in the Money Radio studios. And we've got Dr. David Coon here in the studio. And we're talking family caregivers. We're talking about, really talking about resources. If you missed the first two segments, go up to our website at cypresshomecare.com. Click on the media button. You'll see the radio show. Click on that, and you can catch the first two segments and a bunch more that we've been bringing to you for the last 4.5 years. So, David, I want to jump right into this thing, and I want to talk about family caregivers because they truly are the unsung heroes. They're the ones that are making this ultimate sacrifice, giving up their lives to help their loved ones. They're also looking for great resources that we talked about at the end of the second segment. But more importantly, you are involved in a number of things at ASU, and you've been involved in creating some really great tools for these family caregivers to utilize. And I mentioned them, or you mentioned them, and you mentioned these in the first segment: CarePro, Epic, Music and Memory. Talk to me a little bit about CarePro, because that's kind of the genesis, and you won an award recently from Dr. Crow. So let's talk about this so we can share this with our listening audience.
Okay, so CarePro grew out of a clinical trial that I did was a part of with colleagues at Stanford University when I was there, where we developed what we call a psychoeducational skill training intervention, where we teach family caregivers how to manage their stress, how to manage the behavioral problems of their loved ones, how to communicate more effectively, doing a variety of strategies that are not only applicable to caregiving, but also applicable to their daily lives outside of caregiving even. Mm-hmm. So teaching you how to think differently about your situation. How do you, rather than think about this situation over and over and over again about dad does have a progressive dementia. That is not changing. And so when you say to me, Bob, that your dad is getting worse, I can't look at you and say no, Bob, he's not. The truth of the matter is he's getting worse. But I can look at you and say, how helpful is it for you to run that through your mind over and over and over again? How about we concentrate more about the time that you were in the park that you mentioned last week, and how you make your dad smile, and how you keep him safe, and how he watches Matlock or whatever it is that helps with that. So we took that trial and the outcomes of those trial, and I worked with the community because when I moved here about how do we improve this, how do we make it better. We had gotten feedback from the people that have participated, the first 300 or so people that have participated in the Bay Area. So we redid it here. We offer it in English and Spanish. We embedded it into the Alzheimer's Association chapters. They actually deliver it for us. And so President Crow recognized us recently. It's been embedded since 2009, and it has an impact on depression and stress and positive coping and negative coping strategies and positive aspects of caregiving, and we can sustain that. We only had funding to follow the first 400 or so folks in Arizona and 200 and so folks in Nevada. But over getting close to 2,000 people have graduated from CarePro since 2009.
And, I like how while you talk about the positives as well as the negatives, you really focus in on the positives because you can be overwhelmed with the negatives. And seriously, I mean, I think the caregiver stress is the piece, and I talked about that at the end of the first segment. I mean, 63% of the time, the caregiver predeceases the care recipient, and it's physical and emotional stress. And if we can really focus in on the positives, we can alleviate some of that stress.
I think absolutely, and the statistics and why some folks are dying before the reality may be that the person's older, et cetera. So some of it is stress driven, and some of it may be the actual situation that's going on. There's a lot of controversy right now in the literature. You sort of hit on a button that's pretty controversial. But what I come back to is what you've raised. The most important piece is that we know that stress is a killer, Bob. Mm-hmm. We know that stress is a killer in our lives. So if we find ways, if the family caregiver is stressed, how do we help reduce that stress? Some family caregivers are just amazing copers. Right. If I could bottle that from everybody, if we could do that and figure that out, that would be amazing. But most of us aren't, or most of us aren't over the entire trajectory of care. And when we're looking at various chronic illnesses that really are taxing for the individual impacted as well as for their family, we can anticipate that depression, anxiety, worry, anger, frustration, sleepless nights, missing your own health appointments, all of these kinds of financial stress, all of these things can come in and impact people. So the real key to all of it is stress, and how do we make sure we alleviate that?
And how do we cope with it? I mean, like you said, I think it's easy for me to say because, I even say it to my own family members. You long for what they were or how they used to be, but we have to be more accepting about the new normal. Mm-hmm. This is the new normal. We can't go back to the way it was. We've got to embrace it and accept it, and this is where we're going.
And we have to learn. This is one of the other great things, I think, if we can connect family caregivers. And we can connect people of all different types of backgrounds coming together because we can learn from one another. Some people are much more accepting that we're out eating and dad eats off mom's plate at the, at the more formal banquet room that they're in because he has dementia. It's not a big deal. How do we learn from one another about these kinds of things to let go of and, as you say, accept some of the new normal and embrace dad or mom or sister or brother or whoever it is as they are? Because when we really walk into their world rather than constantly trying to pull them way back into a world and a level of functioning they're not capable of. I do think what gets really frustrating for family caregivers, and I refer to this as the sawtooth curve in a lot of things that I talk about and write about, and that is that some days somebody can do something and the next day they can't, and the next day they can't, and then the next day they can. But I try to remind people that individuals are not just impacted. We tend to label people by their chronic illness, and we don't recognize that they have all these other kinds of things that are going on. People with dementia have sleepless nights.
Right.
When you don't sleep, Bob, how's your memory? When you have pain, how's your memory? When you are anxious about something, how's your memory? So all of these things we need to consider, and it's not just a smooth curve of decline over time. It is a jagged curve. And so it can be frustrating.
No, it can. I mean, and you really think about the fact that, this changes and change happens readily, and we just have to be accepting of it. We talked about CarePro, and we talked a little bit about the design of the program and the awards. How do people listening in today, how do they get connected to this program? You mentioned the Alzheimer's Association.
Right, and that's really calling the Alzheimer's Association's any regional chapter in Arizona and Nevada. It's currently offered only in Arizona and Nevada. There are some people that have contacted me from other chapters. I don't know whether it will spread further or not, and I know there's some professionals that are interested in trying to start it in other states, but right now these are the two states that's embedded in. All they need to do is call those numbers.
Nice. And if you don't know, here in Phoenix, we have the Desert Southwest chapter. We've been privileged to have Dan Lawler, the executive director. I think he's been on my show 5 times in the last 4.5 years. Great resource. I know we're coming up at the end of the third segment, but they just fly by. When we get into the fourth segment, I want you to talk a little bit more about music and memory, and I want you to talk about Epic. You know, just a really prelude into music and memory. It is amazing to see what music does for those that have brain injuries, those that are afflicted with dementias and Alzheimer's. You know, I got introduced to this the first time 14 and a half years ago, and I saw people that were living in this world of silence, and then all of a sudden this community that I was a part of, that I got a chance to witness, were doing Christmas carols, and everybody started singing. I was blown away.
Right.
Animated.
Yep.
And engaged in the moment. Yep. Just amazing stuff going on with that. Got a little Bruce Springsteen taking us out. It is Friday, and you're listening to Health Futures. I've got Dr. David Coon from Arizona State University, the College of Nursing and Health Innovations, here in the studio. We will be right back.
Do you have questions about your retirement, such as, when will I be able to retire? How do I make the most of the money I have? How can I leave a lasting legacy to my loved ones? If so, you're not alone. As an Ameriprise financial advisor, Wayne Candace can help you find the answers with the exclusive Confident Retirement Approach. Wayne will work with you one-on-one to understand your goals and discuss the 4 key needs of retirement, including covering your essentials, ensuring lifestyle, preparing for the unexpected, and leaving a legacy. From there, he'll work with you to develop a retirement roadmap with clear steps you can take to help you live more confidently today and tomorrow. Call Wayne today at 480-922-4215. Office is located at 16220 North Scottsdale Road, Suite 250, Scottsdale, Arizona 85254. The Confident Retirement Approach is not a guarantee of future financial results. Investment advisory products and services are made available through Ameriprise Financial Services, Inc., a registered investment advisor.
Worldwide demand is making coconuts one of the highest-yielding cash crops available today. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and many high-net-worth individuals have invested billions of dollars into coconuts for strong growth and solid long-term income. Yields could be as high as 18% or more per year. Capital appreciation and exceptional income for up to 60 long years would be an absolutely brilliant investment to pass on to future generations. Diversify wisely with direct ownership of fully managed coconuts on prime farmland close to the beautiful Costa Rican border. For more information, qualified accredited investors should go to profitsincoconuts.com or phone 855-888-6288. That's 855-888-6288. This announcement does not constitute an offer to sell securities or a solicitation of an offer to purchase. Offer made by prospectus only. 855-888-6288 or visit profitsincoconuts.com. profitsincoconuts.com.
Attention diabetics. With insurance, you may qualify to get your testing supplies at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call 800-808-5181.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. And James, you're hitting out of the ballpark today. A little Who to finish us off. Awesome. Absolutely. Baba O'Reilly, I love it. I love it. Too bad we can't play it all. We're here talking about Health Futures. If you're just tuning in, I've got Dr. David Coon. He's in the studio here. He's from Arizona State University, the College of Nursing and Health Innovations. And we just are now on our fourth segment. And I got to tell you, I mean, I love the fact that you have innovations as part of your name or part of the school you're part of, because I'm all about innovations. And when I sit down and I really look at, and we talked about this in the first segment, about how we're an aging society, aging like never before. I look at 3 things that are going to help us solve this aging crisis. I talked about in the first segment about public policy. I talked about the Credit for Caring Family Caregiving Act. We need to get the government more involved in this. I mean, we can't politicize this. We've got to come up with solutions to help our aging adults and help those families. Number 2 is innovations.
Mm-hmm.
We need to come up with technological stuff, and we've talked about it on the show, and you and I have talked about Aging 2.0. And basically, Aging 2.0 is a curator for innovations and the tech developers to come together. You know, we had at ASU, at the Sky Song, we had our global pitch event, and we coupled with Venture Doubles, which is part of the engineering school at ASU,
Mm-hmm.
and their entrepreneurship program. And Professor Jimmy Choi was there, and Richard Philly, and about 800 people were pitching their ideas, and they're funding this stuff with hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I love what ASU is doing, and I love that innovations is in your name. And then the third component is people. We need to attract, and I made that appeal in the first segment, I need caregivers. We all need caregivers. We need more people to get into this healthcare space. Before our show started, you met my daughter. Mm-hmm. She's going into speech therapy. She's going to get her master's in that. My youngest is going to nursing school. We need a lot of the young people to embrace healthcare. Healthcare is, and I like to talk about the movie The Graduate, right?
Right.
Remember plastics? Dustin Hoffman getting the plastic. Today it's healthcare. We need to get in healthcare. So I love that that's in your name. I love what you're doing. You talked a lot about CarePro. We ended the third segment talking about music and memory. Mm-hmm. And I want you to talk a little bit about that, and then I want to finish off our final segment with Epic and what you're doing with that.
Okay, so music and memory, and this really came from a connection and a reach from the Phoenix Symphony about wanting to be engaged in what might be a research project that would bring together the Phoenix Symphony with researchers at ASU to look at the impact of music on people who've been struggling with dementia. So we've done our second round in the long-term care facilities, looking at the impact, designing an intervention that the Phoenix Symphony comes together with some music therapists, with some of our nursing colleagues, and with behavioral science, myself, and we are looking not only at the changes in behavior and mood, and we definitely see that in these individuals impacted by dementia, but also in their biomarkers of stress. So what we've seen is not only ratings by the nurses immediately before and immediately after. We want to see that because I have been engaged and seen some work that has really looked way before an intervention starts and then after the intervention ends. But we wanted to see what happens right in that moment. So we've seen dramatic changes, and we've seen dramatic changes not only in the residents but also in the musicians. We had the musicians rate themselves,
nice.
And also we did biomarkers of stress not only with the residents but also with the musicians. So we saw them associated with positive behavioral activation. And then I think that something's really interesting. We've got many outcomes from those two efforts in these two different facilities. But we also saw that we were able to take a stressful event, bathing. You know how stressful bathing is for somebody with dementia.
Oh, yeah.
All right? So we measured people immediately before and immediately after their bath, afternoon bath, looking at cortisol. And we did that on an afternoon when they'd had music in the morning, this event in the morning, and later that week when they didn't have music. And what we saw is that they were able to regulate their stress on the afternoons around this bath when they had music in the morning, and then it was elevated. They were not able, it didn't appear to be able to regulate their stress in the same manner when they didn't have music.
Amazing, absolutely amazing, and you're able to measure cortisol, mm-hmm. which is what is cortisol for our listening audience?
It's a stress. I think the best way to think about it is a biomarker of stress.
Okay,
so that's just really the best way to think about it.
And you know what? The one thing, from the layperson's term, because I am a layperson, I'm not a clinician. I see music, and what I've seen with Alzheimer's and dementia, it's probably the last thing that someone loses in their brain. And I mean, I've witnessed firsthand people that are trapped in the silence in this world, and just music to bring the best out of them. And you talk about music and me. I saw the film that was done several years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was created by this social worker, Dan Cohen, out of New York.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't seen it, it's an amazing piece where they show these, and for lack of a better word, they show these people that are catatonic, that are checked out, and they throw these headphones on, turn the music on, and music from their generation, and they literally come alive. Right. And they're alive even after they take the earplugs out for sometimes up to 5, maybe 10 minutes. They're engaged, and then they slip back into that catatonic state. It's an amazing thing to watch.
It was fascinating to see. We divided in both facilities. We divided the musicians up into teams. And these teams began to know and interact with certain residents over and over again. And they developed theme songs, and they developed all these kinds of things, and it was just really fascinating to see. So,
well, you know, the interesting thing, too, is just that to know that music plays such a vital part in our lives, and to see what it's done, and for me to listen to you as a clinician, really discovering and putting in, and the key word in healthcare today is evidence-based information. You are creating and putting together this evidence-based information that goes beyond the recipient of it. You're going to the musicians and others and really calculating how they feel about it, which is amazing. You know, we're down to about a minute, and I'm going to ask you to give me just the executive summary on Epic. Right. If you could just tell me what you're doing with Epic.
Sure. So Epic is a new trial funded by the NIH. We had great pilot data, and they provided an award for us. It's going to be embedded. It was embedded in the pilot through the Alzheimer's Association, and it is a program that for the early stage individual and their care partner. So we bring them together. We teach them a variety of skills, but what we also do is really help them listen to the voice of the early stage individual in terms of who they want to help them with certain key tasks in the future, and to open up dialogues about everything from having Cypress HomeCare come in and help with certain kinds of things to, should there be a need to be placed, how do you feel about that? What would be your preference for that? So these dialogues happen while the early stage person can really still communicate what they want and what they need and what their values are.
And you know, I'm going to leave with this. Many people think once there's that diagnosis, that person doesn't understand. And you know, David, you and I know that person is still there. You know that movie Still Alice?
Yes.
It's so true. I mean, you know, they talk about this person like they're not even in the room.
Which is the worst thing we can do.
It's the worst thing. You need to bring them into the conversation.
As best they can up to their ability.
Exactly. They're people too, and they have feelings, and you know what? They know what's going on.
Right.
Well, it's hard to believe. You know, David, I got to have you back. We got so much more to cover. You've been listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. Make it a great day. Have a great weekend. And we will be back next Friday. So long.
There's no place like home. You've been listening to Bob Roth's Health Futures. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call Cypress HomeCare Solutions at 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Or visit CypressHomeCare.com. Be sure to join Health Futures with Bob Roth every Friday at noon, right here on Money Radio 1510 and 105.3 FM.
Bill Gunderson's nationwide Best Stocks radio show is coming to Money Radio. Every morning between 9 and 10 a.m., professional money manager Bill Gunderson will talk about the economy,